Have you ever called someone by the wrong name and then realized it wasn't the first time? You smile it off, but deep down you feel that quiet pause, that moment where something should have clicked but didn't. Or maybe you've stood in the middle of the grocery aisle, staring at the ketchup shelf, only to forget why you came there in the first place. It's not scary, but it's frustrating. And it's starting to happen more than it used to. Sometimes, you don't even realize how much it's affecting you until the little things pile up, like the time you opened the fridge to grab the milk and found your reading glasses next to the eggs, or when you lost your train of thought mid-conversation, not just once, but several times in the same afternoon. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. More than 21 million Americans over the age of 60 experience what scientists call mild cognitive decline. But here's the part no one talks about enough. It's often reversible. You're not losing intelligence. You're not broken. You're just running on an aging operating system that needs a bit of tuning. And the good news, it doesn't take an expensive supplement, complicated technology, or hours of training to reboot it. What your brain needs, what it responds to, even in your 60s, 70s, and 80s is simple. Targeted activity, not random puzzles or passive games. Real-world habits that engage your memory, sharpen your focus, and bring clarity back into your daily life. And that's exactly what this video is about. Today, we're going to walk through 4 daily habits that have been shown in studies from Harvard, the Mayo Clinic, and Johns Hopkins to support memory and cognitive function in older adults. Each one is practical. Each one takes just minutes. And each one is rooted in how the aging brain actually works. Stay with me, especially for the final habit. It's used by pilots, performers, and even surgeons to stay sharp under pressure. And it might just become your new secret weapon before bed. But before we dive into the science and solutions, let me quickly introduce myself and welcome you to a space made just for you. Before we dive into the habits that support memory, let me take a moment to say welcome. I'm Dr. William Hart, and this is Golden Health, a channel created for older adults who want to age with strength, clarity, and confidence. Whether you're just entering your 60s or well into your 80s, you deserve practical, science-backed guidance that fits your real life. Each week, we share tools to help you protect your memory, maintain your independence, and feel more connected without hype, pressure, or confusing medical talk. Just clear, honest steps that work. And here's the best part. You're not doing this alone. Thousands of seniors across the country are walking this path with you. So let's make this a conversation. Drop a comment below and tell us where you're watching from. Whether you're in Kansas City, Portland, or a quiet lakeside town in Michigan, we're glad you're here. Now, let's talk about why the brain changes after 60 and how that gives us a second chance. So, why do these subtle slips in memory become more noticeable after 60? Why does it take longer to find the right word or remember a neighbor's name? The answer doesn't lie in aging alone. It lies in how the brain changes with time. According to the National Institute on Aging, the brain starts shrinking in volume as early as your late 50s. Most significantly, the hippocampus, the region responsible for forming new memories, can lose up to 1% of its volume each year after 60. That's like trying to file new papers into a cabinet with drawers that no longer open as smoothly. But structure is only part of the story. Chemical changes are also at play. As we age, the brain produces fewer neurotransmitters, like dopamine and acetylcholine, both essential for mental clarity, attention, and memory recall. Less of these chemicals means slower processing, reduced focus, and that familiar tip-of-the-tongue feeling. Blood flow to the brain also declines with age. When neurons receive less oxygen and fewer nutrients, their signaling weakens. That's why mental fatigue feels heavier, and multitasking becomes more difficult. And here's something many people don't realize: your sleep architecture also changes. Older adults spend less time in deep and slow-wave sleep, the stage where memory consolidation happens. That means even if you're getting 7 hours a night, your brain may not be filing away the memories it used to. So yes, these changes are real, but they're not irreversible. Because here's the hopeful truth: the brain remains plastic. That means it can still form new connections, strengthen old ones, and even create fresh pathways, especially when stimulated through intentional activity. Harvard researchers call this use-dependent neuroplasticity. Simply put, the more you ask your brain to work in targeted ways, the more responsive it becomes. It's not about doing more, it's about doing the right things, consistently. Think of your brain like a backyard garden. Over time, the weeds can take root, and the soil can harden. But with a little care, a bit of water here, sunlight there, and regular tending, growth returns. It's never too late to plant new seeds. So in the next section, we're going to explore 4 daily habits designed to give your brain exactly what it needs: oxygen, stimulation, precision, and consistency. These aren't puzzles or random apps. They're real, life-based practices that work because they're built around how your brain actually functions as you age. Let's start with the first one. Let's begin with the first habit, a simple but powerful technique that combines light movement with memory recall. It's called verbal looping, and it can be done in just 10 minutes a day. Take the story of Arthur, a 69-year-old retired librarian living in Richmond, Virginia. After decades of keeping track of book titles and patron names, Arthur was known for his razor-sharp memory. But recently, he began noticing gaps. He would walk into a room and forget why he was there, or struggle to recall the name of a neighbor he had just spoken with. His doctor suggested something unexpected: not a medication, not a brain-training app, but a habit. Every evening, during his walk with his golden retriever Max, Arthur began a new ritual. As he walked, he would verbally list 3 things he did that day, 2 people he interacted with, and 1 thing he wanted to do tomorrow. At first, it felt awkward. He paused, hesitated, and sometimes repeated himself. But within 3 weeks, something shifted. His memory sharpened, conversations flowed more easily, and for the first time in months, he felt in control of his thoughts again. So, what's the science behind it? When you combine light aerobic movement, like walking, with spoken memory tasks, you stimulate 2 major brain regions at once, the motor cortex and the hippocampus. This dual-task activation strengthens the connections between physical motion and cognitive processing, making it easier for your brain to retrieve and store information. A 2021 study from the University of Pittsburgh found that seniors who engaged in verbal tasks while walking experienced a 36% improvement in recall compared to those who performed memory tasks while sitting still. And here's the best part: it's easy to start. Choose a quiet walking path, your neighborhood sidewalk, your backyard, or even your hallway if you're indoors. As you walk, begin speaking aloud. 3 things you saw or did today. 2 people you spoke with, even briefly. 1 thing you plan to do tomorrow. Don't worry about fluency or grammar. This is about exercising the brain, not performing. If walking isn't possible for you, try standing near a window or pacing slowly inside your home while speaking your list. Just 10 minutes a day is enough, and if you're consistent, you'll likely notice a shift in clarity within the first 2 weeks. If you're open to trying this tonight, type the word loop in the comments. You might be surprised by how much stronger your recall becomes with just a little verbal momentum. Now, let's move to a second habit that challenges your coordination, stimulates brain balance, and requires nothing more than your hands. Now that we've explored how movement and memory can work together, let's shift to something smaller, quieter, but just as powerful. This next habit uses your hands to wake up your brain. Meet Gwen, a 74-year-old retired music teacher living in San Diego, California. Gwen had always prided herself on being quick-minded and nimble with her fingers, after all. She taught piano to hundreds of students, but after a wrist surgery and a long winter stuck indoors, she noticed that simple tasks like tying her apron or unlocking her front door required more concentration than before. Instead of going back to puzzles or memory apps, Gwen's son, a physical therapist, suggested something different: cross-lateral hand training. She began brushing her teeth with her non-dominant hand, her left, while tapping her right foot. In just 10 days, she noticed a surprising change. She wasn't just more coordinated. She felt more alert, more focused, and less mentally sluggish in the morning. There's a fascinating reason why this works. Your brain is split into two hemispheres, left and right, and they don't always communicate smoothly as we age. Cross-body movement, like using your left hand for a right-handed task or tapping opposite limbs, helps activate the corpus callosum. That's the bridge of nerve fibers that connects the two sides. The more you stimulate that bridge, the stronger your brain's balance, coordination, and memory processing become. In fact, research published by the Cleveland Clinic in 2022 confirmed that seniors who regularly practiced cross-lateral tasks had better reaction times, higher working memory scores, and fewer episodes of mental fog. So how can you do this? Start simple. Try brushing your teeth or combing your hair with your non-dominant hand. Then, while seated, tap your right thigh with your left hand and your left thigh with your right. Alternate back and forth slowly, then try speeding up. This is called mirror tapping, and it helps synchronize brain signals across both hemispheres. Want more challenge? Add in a verbal layer, say the days of the week, or spell your name forward and backward while you tap. And if you experience arthritis or limited mobility in your hands, don't worry. You can adapt this by using larger movements, like touching your left shoulder with your right hand and vice versa. The brain benefits remain the same. Just 3 to 5 minutes a day of this practice is enough to spark improvement. If you're giving it a try right now, type SWAP in the comments. We'd love to know how it feels. Up next, we'll explore a habit that taps into one of your most powerful brain systems, your sense of space and place. Now that we've tapped into motor coordination, let's turn to a different kind of memory, your spatial and emotional memory. This next habit invites you to take a mental walk through places you once knew, unlocking memories your brain has quietly stored for decades. Meet James, a 71-year-old retired contractor from Boise, Idaho. After his wife passed away, James found it difficult to stay mentally sharp. He wasn't depressed, but he felt foggy, detached. His daughter, a neurologist, suggested he try a nightly memory walk, not a physical one, but a mental journey. So James started a new habit. Before going to bed, he'd sit in his recliner, close his eyes, and imagine walking through the first house he and his wife ever lived in. He pictured the porch swing, the cracked tile in the kitchen, the scent of pine-scented floor polish. Each night, he added more detail. One night, it was the way the sunlight hit the window over the sink. Another night, it was the placement of the books on their living room shelf. Within 2 weeks, not only did he feel more focused, but he also felt more emotionally grounded. There's a strong reason for this. Spatial memory, our ability to remember where things are located, is processed by the entorhinal cortex and the hippocampus. These regions are critical in memory formation and are among the first affected in conditions like Alzheimer's. Engaging them regularly can help slow decline and reawaken old neural circuits. According to a 2023 paper from Johns Hopkins University, memory retrieval that involves sensory detail, especially visual and spatial cues, activates more brain regions than abstract recall alone. In other words, when you walk through a remembered space, your brain lights up like it's there again. Here's how to try it. Each night before bed, sit quietly and close your eyes. Choose a home or place you once knew well, a childhood house, a former apartment, a school. Mentally walk through 5 rooms or areas in that space. Pause in each room and recall 5 objects: what was on the shelves, the floor, the walls, the windowsills. Don't rush. Let the details come slowly. Smell, color, texture. Every sense you can reawaken strengthens the memory. If you'd like to deepen the experience, write down your walk in a small notebook afterward. The act of translating memory into words builds another layer of retention. Just 5 to 10 minutes of this exercise can improve memory recall, focus, and even sleep quality. If you're ready to walk through your past tonight, comment. Room below. You might be surprised what your brain still remembers. Next, we'll wrap up this set of habits with a nourishing morning ritual that primes your brain for focus and clarity the rest of the day. After exploring the power of memory walks through space, let's bring our focus to something more immediate and physical: your breakfast table. This final habit begins before you even speak a word. It's about giving your brain the fuel it needs to function clearly from the moment you wake up. And it comes down to one thing: neuro-nutrition. Meet Barbara, a 67-year-old former high school counselor in Tampa, Florida. She was never one to skip breakfast, but her morning routine was more habit than health: black coffee, a bagel, maybe a banana. Over time, she began noticing mental sluggishness by mid-morning. She described it as trying to think through molasses. One morning, after reading an article from the Mayo Clinic on brain-supportive foods, Barbara made a change. Instead of coffee first, she started her day with a warm mug of turmeric and cinnamon tea, followed by a small bowl of blueberries and Greek yogurt. As she sipped and ate, she spent 5 minutes doing a crossword puzzle or writing a short journal entry. The results. Within 10 days, she noticed her energy and clarity lasted longer. The fog she felt at 10 a.m. faded. Her memory felt quicker, and her conversations sharper. Here's why it worked. Turmeric contains curcumin, a compound known for its anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. It crosses the blood-brain barrier and supports brain cell repair. Cinnamon helps regulate blood sugar, which stabilizes energy and focus. And blueberries are packed with anthocyanins, plant compounds shown to improve signaling between brain cells. This combination, curcumin, polyphenols, and light mental stimulation, creates a triple effect. It nourishes your neurons, balances your glucose, and activates your focus systems. Want to try it? Here's the morning ritual. Step 1. Warm tea with 5 teaspoons turmeric and a dash of cinnamon, steeped in hot almond milk. Step 2. 3 oz of fresh or frozen blueberries with a spoonful of unsweetened Greek yogurt. Step 3. 5 minutes of light brain activation crossword puzzle, journaling, or a simple word game. You can prepare the tea the night before and simply reheat it. The total ritual takes about 10 to 15 minutes, but its benefits can stretch throughout your day. If you're already thinking about what you'll swap out of your morning routine tomorrow, type ritual. In the comments, we'd love to hear what part you'll try first. Now that we've covered all 4 habits, let's take a few moments to talk about how to do them safely, how to adjust them to your needs, and how to get the most from your effort, especially if you have health conditions to consider. Now that we've covered all 4 daily habits, it's important to pause and talk about something equally vital: how to approach these practices safely, and in a way that respects your body's unique needs. If you're managing conditions like arthritis, high blood pressure, diabetes, or a history of stroke, remember that your brain and body may respond differently, and that's perfectly normal. What matters most is how you begin, not how fast you go. Take Nancy, a 73-year-old in Milwaukee who loved the idea of the morning ritual but struggled with arthritis in her hands. Instead of blueberries and yogurt, she started with a soft smoothie and sipped her turmeric tea using a 2-hand grip. She couldn't write in a journal, So she recorded a 1-minute voice note instead. The point is, she adapted. And it still worked. Here's how you can do the same. Start slow. If walking feels tiring, try the verbal loop exercise while sitting near a window. If tapping your hands feels stiff, switch to shoulder touches or finger stretches. If a food doesn't work for your digestion, substitute something that does, like oats or avocado. Also, if you're taking medications that affect cognition, such as sleep aids, anxiety meds, or certain painkillers, be gentle with mental challenges. Don't force them. Let your brain warm up like a muscle. And always, if you're unsure whether a habit fits your condition, speak with your doctor or healthcare provider first. If you'd like a printable version of these adapted suggestions, type Safe Start in the comments and we'll send it your way. Next, let's hear from a few real seniors who've tried these habits and what actually changed for them. Now that you know how to adapt these habits safely, let's shift from science to something just as powerful, real stories from real people. Take Harold, 76, from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He had always been the type to fix things around the house and remember every tool by name, but after retirement, he found himself walking into the garage and forgetting why he was there. His wife noticed. 2, he was repeating stories more often. After watching a Golden Health episode, Harold decided to start the verbal looping walk. Every afternoon, he walked around his backyard with their dog, Daisy, listing 3 things he did that day, 2 people he talked to, and 1 goal for tomorrow, within 3 weeks. Not only did his recall improve, he said he felt present again. Then there's Ellen, 70, a retired elementary school teacher in Asheville, North Carolina. She had been feeling slow and foggy in the mornings, relying on her 3rd cup of coffee just to get going. She started the neuro-nutrition ritual: blueberries, turmeric tea, and a 5-minute word puzzle. Within 2 weeks, she noticed she was more alert by 9 a.m. than she'd been in years. It was like someone finally turned the lights back on, she told us. And finally, Roger, 79, from Reno, Nevada, had been struggling with names even of family members. His daughter introduced him to the 5-room recall map. Every evening, he visualized the home he grew up in, walking through each room, naming the furniture, the wallpaper, the sounds. Not only did his memory improve, he started telling stories his grandkids had never heard before. These aren't miracles. They're results of consistent, small actions rooted in how the aging brain actually works. If one of these stories reminds you of someone you love, send this video to them. You never know which small habit might change everything. Now, let's wrap up with one final message, a reminder that your brain is not behind you. It's still with you, and it's waiting for you to lead. Let's take a moment to step back and look at everything we've covered. We started with a familiar feeling, forgetting why you walked into a room, losing your words mid-sentence, or feeling like your thoughts were just out of reach. We learned that these moments aren't signs of failure. They're signs that your brain, like every other part of your body, simply needs care and attention. And the best part, that care doesn't have to be complicated. You've now seen 4 simple and science-backed habits that can help your brain regain clarity, focus, and flexibility. 1. A verbal memory walk to boost recall. 2. Cross-lateral hand swaps to activate brain balance. 3. A 5-room mental map to unlock long-term memory. 4. And a neuro-nutrition ritual to fuel your mind from the start of the day. Each habit takes only minutes, but when practiced consistently, they begin to rewire your brain in ways that matter not just for memory, but for confidence, independence, and emotional well-being. You're not too old to change. You're not past your peak. In fact, your brain may be more ready than ever. It just needs you to start. So let's make this a moment of action. In the comments below, tell us, which of the 4 habits will you start tomorrow? Type loop, swap, room, or ritual? We'd love to hear from you, and cheer you on. And if you found today's video helpful, subscribe to Golden Health. Every week, we share science-backed strategies designed for seniors because a sharp mind is part of a full, vibrant life. In our next episode, we'll reveal 3 healthy drinks that may be quietly harming your memory and what to sip instead. But for now, take a deep breath. Hold on to what you've learned today, and remember your brain hasn't stopped working. It's just waiting for the right signal to grow again, and that signal is you.